I miss Chente. How many people miss Chente, you know? Buenos dias. Good morning. As your national president of LULAC, I was trying to figure out what I want to tell y'all today as we got here for our 94th anniversary of LULAC. And this is what I was thinking. Why did you join LULAC? Why is LULAC here today? And let me tell you what my version, my perception of why we're here. It was because in 1929, when there were signs that said no Mexicans, no dogs allowed, and I saw them, one organization stood up and said, that's not right. That was LULAC. When a little girl in Westminster, California, wanted to go to the white school, Sylvia Mendez, and they wouldn't let her because she was Mexican-American, LULAC stood up. The case went to the U.S. Supreme Court in 1949, and we ended segregated schools for Mexican-Americans and whites in the United States of America. When Latinos were not allowed to serve in grand juries, LULAC took the fight, and Hernandez versus Texas allowed Latinos and Latinas to serve on grand juries for the first time in the history of the United States, and LULAC made that happen. When they started passing bills, poll taxes, whites-only primaries, to restrict the process of Latinos voting, LULAC stood up. We challenged them. We struck down the poll tax. We passed the Voting Rights Act, and Latinos are now covered across the country to make sure that every Latino and Latina has a right to vote in the United States. And we're not going to let Abbott, DeSantis, or any other politician take that right away. I was in El Paso 4 years ago, and I remember going to the hospital to visit the victims who had been shot by a young man who drove 400 miles to kill Mexicans. That was his manifesto, to stop the invasion, to stop the invaders. Now think about the psycho mindset of people like that, but he's not the only one. But I remember being there with a mother, her name was Domingo Garcia, who was selling cookies for her Girl Scout team. And her husband were there when the gunman showed up at the front of the Walmart, and the husband picked up the table. It was one of those fold-out tables, charged him, and he was shot and killed. Coco told the little girls to run. She was shot twice in the back, okay? But the week afterwards, we had a march against hate in El Paso. You know who showed up at that march? Coco, okay? And she joined LULAC. That's what LULAC's about. Stopping the gun violence, trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. I was in Uvalde after the shooting in Uvalde. And there was a guy named Javier Cáceres. I don't know if, Javier, are you in the room yet? His 9-year-old daughter was shot that day, okay? And Javier he went through the bereavement, he went through that, but he said, you know what? I don't want that to happen to anybody's daughter. And he created the first LULAC council in Uvalde, Texas, which is now growing. And they now have a Latina running for mayor of Uvalde. And LULAC is supporting her. 2 days ago, LULAC members, is Robert Teles here yet? Our state director for Texas. They went to Eagle Pass, Texas. This is where the bayous are at, okay? Where they were throwing children back into the river under the orders of the Texas Department of Public Safety. Babies, okay? And they talked to the Eagle Pass City Council, and the Eagle Pass City Council 2 days ago voted to restrict and take away the rights of the state of Texas to put up the bayous on Eagle Pass property and take them down. LULAC did that. So I hope that y'all are here because you want to make a difference. I hope you're here porque quieren luchar por los de abajo. Quieren luchar por los que Dios bendiga. And when you see here, familia, derechos civiles, y unidad, and today is the Unity Luncheon, we unite to fight for what's right, to fight for that Statue of Liberty and what it stands for our Constitution and what it stands for, and what our familia has taught us that we need to stand for. And if we do that, we can go forward and make sure we make a difference. And one of those people trying to make a difference is my next guest. She was the first Latina ever elected to the Hermoso City Council in California. The first woman in 10 years. And then she decided to run for Congress and got elected to Congress. And she is now the chair of the Hispanic Congressional Caucus in Washington, D.C., fighting for those issues that LULAC is fighting for. Let's give a big welcome to Nanette Barragan, Congresswoman from